Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the Ferrum Forge Massdrop Dow. This is one that I was very excited to get my hands on. So excited, in fact, that I bought this with my very own monies. Massdrop does loan me stuff a lot now, but I actually got this way before I actually had any talks with Massdrop and they started loaning me stuff. This was ordered actually way back in late August. It arrived on February 7th. Yes, that is a long time, but it's first run, and to Massdrop's credit, their estimated delivery date, the day I ordered it, said February 15th, and it got here more than a week early, so very, very happy about that. That's how it always with Massdrop. First run takes a while, but now this is one they are going to have in stock. It is not at the moment. The first run is just getting sent out to everyone. Once all those are sent out, they always put a few up that they have left over, and then in the future, now this is going to be one of the just in-stock knives. That's kind of how it is on Massdrop now. If it doesn't say one of 1,000 pieces or something like that, it's going to be something that they just have in stock. There'll be periodic times when it's out of stock, as there is with anything you're buying, but they're going to try and keep a lot of the knives in stock, which is pretty great. Especially the Ferrum Forge stuff is mostly always going to be in stock, which is pretty cool, because this knife is quite a bargain. 115 bucks for the plain version. I got the circuit board version, the milling, and then there's also one called the something Tech Saber, which is a cool little pattern too. Also, they come in green, bronze, or gray. I got the gray circuit board. The circuit board was an extra 10 bucks. The Tech Saber thing's an extra 10 bucks. So this one was 125, but they do come in a cheaper version at 115 if you just want the plain slab handles. I just got it because I just think this looks kind of cool. And one of the Ferrum Forge brothers, actually, I just watched one of his videos, said that this is the version he carries around. So yeah, I guess I made a good choice. You're looking at S35 VN steel, titanium frame lock, very Ferrum Forge-esque design, kind of similar to a previous offering called the Buck. The Buck has more of a dramatic blade to it. It's more of a cleaver looking kind of blade. This is a modified sheep's foot. I think on that same video I just mentioned earlier, one of the Ferrum Forge brothers called it Warny Cliffy sheepy thing or something like that. He had a very technical term for it. I think it was Warny Cliffy sheepy thing or something like that. But I really like the look of it. That's kind of what appealed to me, and I like the size of it. What is the size of it? Now's a good time to do some stats, I think, don't you? Line this up here. Again, these are all half-inch squares. Have an overall length of 7.6 inches, a blade length of 3.4 inches. You have a blade thickness of, according to my little calipers, 0.15 inches, handle thickness of about 0.47, and weight is 3.4 ounces for the non-milled versions. The milled versions are supposedly 3.3. It's not enough to matter. Don't get the milled version because you want to save weight. Just get the milled version because you think it looks cool. That's kind of their only reason to do that. Next up, let's do some size comparisons. We have some of our standards here. Oh my gosh! Oh, there it is. I thought I left my PM2 downstairs. We can't have a review without a PM2. Compare it to your Spyderco Paramilitary 2. You can see it's a little bit smaller than that. Definitely a lot slimmer. It has a very slim little knife. That's one of the things I like the most about it. Your Spyderco Para 3. It's only just a tick bigger than a Para 3 in length, but again, much slimmer. Your Kershaw Bare Knuckle, just a little bit shorter than that. A knife that, in, I don't know, no explicable way, kind of reminds me of, maybe just because it's so slim, your Spyderco Capara, a little shorter than that. And then if you are watching this because you are a big Massdrop Ferrum Forge fan, I'll compare it against the other two Massdrop Ferrum Forges that I have. We have the Massdrop Gent. It is a bit longer than the Gent. And then this is the biggest one that they make with, this is not actually out yet, but some of us got our hands on them. This is the Mordax, made by ProTech. These two are made by We Knives, if I didn't mention that earlier, is the contractor on these. As it is with most of them, the ProTech is kind of the standout. Most of the other, I think all the other Ferrum forges are made by We. How do I feel about this knife? I really like it. First impressions, it's a very nice EDC knife. It's really, really, really good. I really like the look of it, as I said. I think the circuit board is cool. I went a bit out of my comfort zone. I usually always just get the flat slabs, but this is this one I thought looked pretty neat. And we'll get to it in ergonomics, but it's not a problem at all. It's really well milled. There's no sharp edges or anything. Quality is weak, as you'd expect. It's really good. Blade centering's perfect. Lockup's good. Yeah, I'm really liking it. You have the insert. It's like you almost can't even see the insert. They did such a good job of getting it the same finish as the titanium. I like the finish they use in their blade. I've heard some people complain about that, but I like the finish. This is the standard We Massdrop finish that they seem to use on everything. I think it's a pretty cool looking knife, and it's a very quality piece. I like this titanium backspacer. It looks nice. Hardware is pretty good quality. Yeah, it is right hand, left hand carry. I really like it. The blade, pretty good. I actually had to use it a lot more than I would expect after owning it for a day and a half. We had a windstorm. Well, still are having a windstorm. You can probably hear it outside. And the car cover blew off of my old 84 CRX. I'm a weird guy. I like 80 sports cars. I'm odd. And wound up wrapping itself around my neighbor's fence. So I had to go cut it apart, basically. It got in there really good. I was gone for a few hours, and it got in there good. I had to cut the whole thing apart. So luckily it wasn't expensive. It's a cover. It usually lives in the garage, but I got something else going on in the garage right now, so I had it out under a car cover, and it blew off. But yeah, it slices really well. I've cut, I did some cardboard testing with it yesterday, did some paper stuff, and it's still I will show thee, still sharp after all that. Still great. Looking at about the thickness behind the edge varies a bit from the back to the front. Get all this crap out of the way. I average about 23 thousandths back here, up to about 19 towards the tip. So, and it's a very high flat grind, 0.15 inch blade. It's not a bit thick, but it's not too crazy. It's a pretty good slicer. Not like an amazing one, but it's pretty darn good, I have to say. And ergonomically also, cutting through car cover material is not the easiest thing in the world, and I was out there for about 15 minutes doing it, and it was still perfectly comfortable. It is a very thin handle, but again, I have long fingers, and it doesn't bother me that much. It still fits good. No real hot spots. It is definitely, I think, better to use choked up, but you can still get all four fingers on it if you don't want to. But when you're not choking up, I just kept finding myself, stuff slipping into that choil, so I much preferred to use it just like this. It is a very generous finger choil. It's going to fit most fingers. The jimping is really good. It's a bit aggressive, but I wouldn't call it sharp by any means. And the circuit board stuff didn't bother me at all. I guess technically maybe the slab one would be a bit more comfortable, but I'm just not putting that much pressure on it. It didn't bother me a bit. You can feel the back of this pocket clip in your palm, but it's not objectionable at all. Pretty darn good. I was pretty happy with the ergos on it, especially, and it's just when you're doing little fine stuff, it's great. It's really great for that. As far as the carry goes, we'll bring out ye old Wranglers. This is probably one of my favorite things about this knife. So it doesn't carry deep. I mean, the milled pocket clip, definitely a lot sticking out, but depending on what color you get, it's just going to be this or a dark bronze or a kind of the green they use isn't like an acid green, so it's not going to be anything bright that's going to stick out. I'm pretty okay with that, but it's just so slim. It's so easy to get your hand past it. Yeah, you can feel the flipper tab, but just barely. The one of their most popular ones is the Crux, and everybody loves the Crux. I don't like the Crux because the flipper tab sticks out so far. I can't, no pun intended, I can't get past that, and I don't care for it. I think it carries a lot better than the Crux, and it's really not that far off in size. The Crux might be a little better ergonomically for sure, and I do like the Crux blade shape a lot, but that flipper tab on the Crux just drives me insane. I'm sure I'm probably going to wind up with one someday, but I reviewed it a long time ago. I had a loaner from somebody, and I don't know, that flipper tab I can't deal with. It's just one of my biggest pet peeves is oversized flipper tabs. So moving on, deployment, action, all that stuff, really good. It's really good. The detent is freaking perfect. I heard somebody ask me, my detent was stiff. I don't mean to use his sarcastic voice. Maybe it was, but I have good luck with it. You can Spidey flick it. Takes a bit of effort. For me, it's not anything to do with the detent. Just that my finger doesn't fit in there as well. You kind of have to be purposeful about it and really get your finger in there and then give it a flick and it goes. But if you're just trying to casually Spidey flick it, yeah, once you get practice up with it, it's good. I have not been able to thumb flick it, but I'm very bad at that. Oh, no, and then I just did. I'm a liar. I had not been able to thumb flick it, but I'm terrible at thumb flicking. It's just the way my thumb moves or something. But yeah, now it's working fine. I guess it's just getting broke in. But yeah, you can do all the cool things, but it definitely works best with the flipper tab. Fires right out reliably every single time, and it is not quite drop shut, but man, it's dang close. That is for sure. Running on ceramic ball bearings, ceramic detent, all that stuff you'd expect. All the wee goodness. I did tear this apart. It does not milled at all, except for obviously on the outside. If you get the non-milled one, then it's not milled at all. But very simple construction. Came apart super easy. Went back together super easy. Nothing to complain about there whatsoever. And at the end of the day, it's titanium frame lock flipper with S35 VN with Ferrum Forge's name on it for 115 to 125 bucks. You get this cool thing too. I forgot to bring this out. If you have not seen the Massdrop packaging before, this is just the typical Massdrop packaging. Excuse me. You have the box here. Comes with the wee pouch with the Massdrop logo on it. You get Ferrum Forge design cloth. Don't Eat Me. Rolls-Royce floor mat interior. Yeah, you get lots of cool stuff, man. For the price, this thing is insane. Some of this Massdrop stuff, the prices you can get. I know that some people said the Mordax is overpriced, but I think it's just because I think any other time we heard about a Massdrop ProTech collaboration for what are they, $240, you'd think it was a big bargain. But we're just used to Massdrop pulling off these amazing deals, and this is one of them. Fantastic. I'm really liking this. I'm going to be carrying it a whole lot because I said it just carries so well, and the blade shape is so useful, and I really like it, and it looks cool as hell. So hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've been Brian. Have a good one.